Hello students, welcome to today's lecture. Now, I remember I taught you verbs and every aspect of it. So I expect you to practice so much on the aspect of verbs. Now I'll be moving closer to, because I'm looking at how to bring the foundation of English grammar to your understanding and making sure that you have a proper foundation regarding parts of speech or word classes. Let's look at another component which is very important in the word class aspect. We're going to be looking at the aspect of adjective and adverb. I have two in mind, so let's see how far we can cover that. If not so possible, then in our next lecture, we'll have to continue. So we're looking at the aspect of adjective, because remember, these are crucial aspects that would be asked in your exam as well. Because you have a sentence and you have an underlined portion, you would be asked to identify which particular part of speech is the underlined portion. So you should know when a word is functioning as an adjective different from when it is functioning as a noun. You should also know when a word is functioning as a noun other than when it is functioning as a verb. So there are different categories of these word classes. So come with me and let's look at adjective in today's lecture and also proceed to adverb. Now, adjective, in definition, you have adjective is a word which qualifies. So I like it when you use the term qualifies to describe adjective. So which qualifies or describes a noun. Is that taken? Or a pronoun. So listen, class. These two components are very crucial in identifying an adjective, which is what? A noun and a pronoun. An adjective actually helps you to identify how or what the noun is. It equally identifies the pronoun too. Those are the two major components that an adjective helps you to identify. So let's see. There are different types of adjectives in English. Okay? There are different types of adjectives in English. So we're going to be considering those different types of adjectives in English language. And one of them is called attributive adjective. Attributive adjective. I'm going to be addressing that too. Then we have predicative adjective. Then I'll also move to gradable adjective and non-gradable adjective. So those are the other aspects to which I'll look into. Is that taken? Now, there are different aspects of adjective. For example, you can have adjective of color. You have adjective of color. So what are those adjectives of color? You have e.g. like blue, you have black, you have red, okay, you have green, and so on. These are examples of adjective of color. Now let's proceed to adjective of age. Okay, so in this case, you should have young. You should have an example of old, and so on. Then number 3, there is adjective of quantity. Quantity, where you have like big, you have like small, you have like large, and so on. So these are description of adjective of quantity. Now let's proceed to the fourth aspect of an adjective. Let's proceed to the fourth aspect of an adjective. Now you could also have an adjective of of nationality, adjective that indicates nationality, or proper adjectives, as you may be called. So, e.g., you have Nigerian, okay, you have American, okay, you have Ghanaian, and many more. So these are adjective of nationality or proper adjective. It helps to describe where a particular person is coming from. Is that taken? So now these are different types or different categories of adjective. Now let's consider another aspect of adjective, or another types of adjective. The first one, these are the types of adjective okay. So number one, we'll be talking about attributive. Attributive adjective. Attributive adjective. Now, what are attributive adjective? Now, these are adjectives that usually occur before a noun in a sentence. So any adjective that occurs before a noun in a sentence will be known as an attributive adjective. It means that this adjective would occur before a noun and tell you what the noun is. For example, when you have a tall boy, for instance, so tall is an attributive adjective. Why? Because it's helping to describe who the boy is, telling you not just a boy, but a tall boy. I hope you understand that now. So these are examples of attributive adjective. That is, they usually occur before the noun to describe what or who the noun is. Okay, let's take the definition. This is an adjective. This is an adjective that helps to describe the noun. Can you see that now? So it usually occur before the noun in a sentence. It usually occur before the noun in a sentence. That's an attributive adjective. It usually occur before the noun in a sentence. Let's take an instance. So, e.g., you can have the young boy is here. The young boy is here. So, in a case where you have the young boy is here, take a look. What do you have? This is a definite article plus young. What is young? That's adjective of age. Can you see that now? Plus what? This is a singular noun, boy. And is a verb. That's a singular verb. Here is an adverb. Adverb of place. Is that taken? So that's an adverb of place. Now, what is our emphasis here? Young is our emphasis. You can see that it's coming before the noun boy. So it is functioning as what? As an attributive adjective. That is, an adjective that is occurring before the noun. An adjective that helps to describe the noun. An adjective that tells you what and who the noun is. Is that understood? Is that taken? Let's take another example to this effect. So, example 2, because this is example 1. Example 2, you can have the beautiful young lady. The beautiful young lady went for an interview. The beautiful young lady went for an interview. So what do you observe? You can have beautiful and young. You can see, so this is adjective plus another adjective. Can you see that now? So that gives you 2 adjectives. This is a general adjective, beautiful. That's a common adjective. Then young is an adjective of age. All right. So for the fact that both of them are occurring before the actual noun, what's the actual noun there? Lady is the actual noun. Because both of them are occurring before the actual noun, they would be described as attributive adjective. Why? Because they are occurring before the noun, lady. So they help to describe the lady. If I asked you, for instance, who is the lady? You would say that she is a beautiful, okay, and also a young lady. That's what you would say, because the sentence already describes that. So lady here is actually what? A noun. I hope that's understood. So other aspects that are coming after lady are called post modifiers. That is, they are making reference to lady. They are talking about lady. They are helping to describe lady the more. What happened to the lady? She went for an interview. So this is an aspect of attributive adjective. Now let's move to the second part, known as predicative adjective. Predicative adjective. Predicative adjective. Now, what is a predicative adjective? This is an adjective that usually occurs after a verb in a sentence. All right, so it occurs after a verb in a sentence. That's a predicative adjective. An adjective that usually occurs after a verb in a sentence structure. I know you're surprised to see how an adjective can occur after a verb. Yes, it's quite possible. I'm going to demonstrate an example for you to see. So from the word predicative, that's making reference to a verb. Okay? And adjective. That's to tell you that what? That this is an adjective which usually occur after a verb in a sentence structure. So let's take the definition. This is an adjective which usually occur after a verb in a sentence structure. Or you can simply say in a sentence or in a sentence structure. Is that taken? So in this case, you can have the lady is beautiful. Can you see that now? The lady is beautiful. That makes an absolute correct sentence. The lady is beautiful. So what do you observe in this construction? You can have that this is a definite article plus lady, that's a singular noun. Is a singular verb. Then beautiful is what? That's a general adjective. That's a general adjective. So now, beautiful being a general adjective, what can it be classified as? It can be classified as a predicative adjective. Why? Because it's occurring immediately after the verb. What's the verb there? Is. That's the verb. So beautiful is occurring immediately after the verb. So that will be classified as a predicative adjective. That is an adjective that comes immediately after the verb in a construction or in a sentence. So you have this as what? Predicative. Predicative adjective. Can you see that now? So that's a predicative adjective. That's a predicative adjective. So look at this too, because I'm going to give you a drill just now, which is I'd like you to make 4 sentences for me. And out of those 4 sentences, give me 2 attributive adjectives and 2 predicative adjectives. One thing I would like you to do is underline where the adjective occurs so that I can use that to trace your sentence. Now you're to send your answer in the chat box so that I could reply. Is that taken? So here comes the drill. Here comes the drill. So make 4 sentences. Make 4 sentences. Make 4 sentences. So in this case, you have two sentences for attributive. For attributive adjective, okay? Then two sentences for predicative adjective. Predicative adjective. Can you say that now? So you're making a total of 4 sentences in which two sentences will be seen as a attributive adjective, then 2 other sentences will be used as predicative adjective. I hope that's understood. Now, I'm going to give you just a few minutes for you to try that. Let's see. All right, class. Now, I've been able to check your work, and I realized that Monturayo and Timilenya are doing very, very well. And for the new ones that are joining us just now, Miracle and the rest, I would like you to participate actively in this class. So the drill is make 4 sentences, 2 sentences for attributive adjective, and 2 sentences also for predicative adjective. And you've been able to do that. Now let's proceed to other types of adjectives known as gradable adjectives and non-gradable adjectives. So class, haven't defined what an attributive adjective is to you and a predicative adjective. Let's proceed to gradable adjective. Now from the word gradable adjective, it means that it is an adjective that can be further compared. All right? It means that you can possibly add ER to the comparative level of the adjective and add EST to the superlative aspect of the adjective. You can as well add more to the comparative aspect of the adjective and add most to the superlative aspect of the adjective. I hope you understand this. So, gradable adjective refers to an adjective that can be further compared. You can use it to say, for instance, beautiful, more beautiful. The more there tells you that it's just more than being beautiful. Can you hear that? So, most beautiful. That's a comparison between 3 things. I hope that is clear to you. So, when you use gradable adjective, you're simply saying that you can further modify, you can further compare a particular person or an entity. Is that understood? Now, number 3, gradable adjective. Gradable adjective. So this is an adjective which can further be compared. Is that understood? So this is an adjective which can further be compared. There are 3 categories. There are 3 categories to these aspects. There are 3 categories to this aspect. So what are those 3 categories? So let's see. Now, you have the aspects of positive and comparative and superlative. I hope that's taken. Now you have 3 aspects to these particular adjectives. So you have the positive. The positive is the base word, okay? That's the main word, or that's the ordinary word. While the comparative, please don't pronounce as comparative, no. Here, you have this letter A, the letter A that I circled, okay? That's the schwa sound, so you pronounce as comparative. So the comparative and the superlative aspects of the adjective. Positive is the base word. Comparative is having to make a comparison between 2 things. And that is only possible when you add ER and more. So it means that this aspect accommodates ER and also accommodates more. Is that taken? So the superlative aspect accommodates est and what? And most. While this is the base word. Can you see that now? So this is the base word, and this is comparative, and this is the superlative aspect of it. I hope this is getting clear to you. Now let's proceed to see how we can identify this. And I'm going to tell you a particular error that most people make when expressing excitement or happiness. I'm going to explain that to you. Here, you can have a word like tall. Can you see that now? That's number one, tall. Then I have taller. Then I have tallest. Is that taken to you? So that's a comparative adjective. Two, I have short. Then I have shorter. I have the shortest. Then I can have small. Then I have smaller. Then I have smallest. Okay, so look at the aspect that I had to underline. I intentionally underlined these letters. And what is the essence for that? To tell you that they are gradable adjectives. That is, adjectives that can be further compared. Now you have the word tall. It is possible for you to further grade this particular adjective from tall to taller, and you can also have from taller to tallest. Do you understand? Now, look at another part again where you have short. Do you see that now? So you can further grade short to shorter, and from shorter, all right, to shortest. Then you have from small to smaller, and from smaller to smallest. All right, so look at the different varieties of grading for each of these adjectives. I hope that is clear to you. Now, you can also have beautiful, more beautiful, and most beautiful. But take this note, that's NB. I'm going to state two important rules to gradable adjectives, two important rules, and they serve to be errors that people make so much in diaspora, not just in Nigeria alone. So look at this. Do not use double comparative in a sentence structure. Is wrong. Do not use double comparative in a sentence structure. That's very, very wrong. So anytime you use double comparative in a sentence structure, that will be very, very wrong. What do I mean by double comparative? Let me show you. Now take a look. I have ER and I have more. They are double. Do you see that now? So you can see that comparative belongs to ER and more. So imagine in a sentence that I get to use these two to construct a sentence. That's very, very wrong. The same thing applies to superlative. I can use est and most to make a sentence. If I try to do that, it will be an error. So I can't use double comparative like ER and more. I can't use double superlative like est and most to illustrate a sentence. That's the rule. Remember that the rule states that do not use double comparative in a sentence. Let me give an example. Like many of you will say, this is A. The explanation becomes more clearer to me now. That's very wrong. Let me give you an instance. The explanation becomes more clearer. Can you see that now? To me now. This is very wrong. And what makes it wrong? Why do we classify this sentence structure being wrong? The reason is there is the use of double comparative. That is, you're using double comparative to illustrate this particular sentence. The explanation becomes more clearer. Can you see that now? So more and ER is being used, even in juxtaposition, side by side. More and clearer. That's what makes this construction wrong. You're not supposed to use double comparative in a sentence structure. Don't do that. If you do that, that's going to be very wrong. So what is the correct version to this? You can have that the explanation becomes clearer to me now. Did you see what I did? I had to apply the rule of redundancy, which is what? I had to eliminate this and apply this. Okay? Because in terms of meaning making, that is, in terms of the content between these two, this word clearer, okay, would overshadow more. In terms of its meaning, it would overshadow more. So I have the explanation becomes clearer to me now. That's a good one. Now the next rule, note, that's the second one. Do not use double superlative. Do not use double superlative in a sentence. All right? Please don't try that. That would be very, very wrong. Do not use double superlative in a sentence structure. And how does that come? Now, this is the most familiar one for many people all over the world. For instance, today is the most happiest day of my life. That construction is wrong. Now, can you tell me why it's wrong before I get to illustrate it on the board? Now, the reason it's wrong is because you have most and happiest. And in happiest, you have EST. And you equally have most. That's what makes it wrong. So you can't use double superlative in a construction. Now look at this. A, today is the most happiest. Can you see that? Happiest day of my life. So what happens? What makes this construction wrong? The reason is you're having most, that's superlative.